Hey,
sweet.
Case, how are you? Hey,
I'm
Adam.
doing
Hi.
awesome.
Sorry, we couldn't hear you before.
Oh, I'm so glad you told me. Yeah, I usually mute myself upon entry so you don't hear dogs barking.
That's what I'm going to go take care of right now. I'll be right back.
I love that room. It is popping with color. You
Isn't it
look
great?
you look amazing.
Oh,
So it looks like here you are the Southern Belle medium.
I am. I am.
Yes. And the first thing I read is 6 near-death experiences.
Mhm.
Wow. That why are you so special? How did that happen?
I
It
don't
just
know if it's special. You know, I think that, we agree to things before we come here on
Mhm.
the other side. So somehow, I guess I agreed to it. The pain part I didn't really like, but I really did like checking into home base. That was that was a bonus.
Uh-huh.
And then every time that I came back on my filters, if you want to call it that, what are we supposed to have? 12 etheric bodies. Some people say 7, 12. They
Uh-huh.
were gone. I mean, I was totally spirit a couple times. And I think that's why spirit people like me so much. So, yeah, every time I lost more and more filters. So I could blend more and more with spirit. So, I like it over there a little bit. I don't like the pain part, getting there, but I do. I mean, I'm not promoting it, but the higher angelic realms and the divine realms, that's where I like to live. That's where it feels good.
Yeah, I think most of us would like to spend more time tapping into the unconditional love, and then stepping back like you've done.
Well, you don't have to do it that way. I guess I'm a little dramatic, okay? And I had, several things like with head injuries and so forth. I noticed that you had PMH Atwater, which I adore her. And matter of fact, it was one of her books that I was reading because she's a childhood NDE specialist that studied that. I didn't realize that prenatal was an NDE, and I totally remembered before I came here not being able to come in, watching my mom. She was having complications. And I just felt really sorry for her, like, wow, she's so young, And then, I didn't even realize that. And then I had one at 3 when I was playing hide and seek, and there were some dressers. There was a big antebellum house, and I'm jumping up and down, and there was a dresser underneath me. And I don't know what it was doing there. It was a nice house. I have no idea, but there was a nail hammered on the nail head end, and it completely pierced through my skull.
Oh my
And so
god.
and so I fell over. I was like, "Ah," I thought it was water, and I fell over and then, had an NDE as they call it, above my body, seeing all that. And then I could see different light beings coming in and different perspectives. I could then see outside, inside, out, all at the same time,
Wow.
as well as seeing an angel that appeared to me as an angel. It was an 8-foot being over my head, and then I heard it was heard. It's weird. Heard. It wasn't just hearing. It was knowing and feeling that it was the voice of God. I can't tell you how I knew, but I knew. I knew. I don't know how I knew, but it said, "This is not your time. You have much to do." And it's funny because I've done several research studies, and one of them I did with a man that did a study. It was I don't know if it was some Palo Alto college, and he said that's said all over the world. There was a guy being eaten by a tiger, and he says, "This is not your time. You have much to do." So I wonder if like God hits a recorded button and goes, "Tell her that message."
Yeah,
I
The
don't know.
switch
I
slow
don't
more
know.
down yet.
operator.
We got some stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Pick English. This one. Okay. I don't know. And so, but yeah, and then a 4 was a car wreck, and I went through the windshield, and it was snowing and all that, and had 2 surgeries later on my face to remove cartilage, which is
Wow.
amazing. I think I look okay, and but I did. I had an impact to the face, and again, the head area, and went through the tunnel and saw Jesus, and he said I had to go back, and I said, I don't know if I want to. And he's like, you are. Like, he was serious. He's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, you got to go back. And so then the big one was when I was 5, and I had pneumonia. I had strep throat, went into pneumonia, at a high fever. It's strange. Oh, now I'm giving my age away, but I think it's kind of cool because it was the night that Martin Luther King got assassinated, and everything was shut down. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. My dad was in radio and broadcast, and he had a company car. And so you weren't supposed to leave. You had a curfew. You had like military guard there. And so they put me in the car, and he was my stepdad, and my mom, said, we got to take her. He's like, no, anyway, they finally did. And so we had to go through all these barricades and all that. And I died in the car. At this point, I was just kind of fading away. At this point, I just popped out, and I'm looking above, I'm seeing all the fires, I'm seeing the riots. And so when we stop at one of the military stands, the National Guard, he said, what's going on? And they said, we're going to call ahead for you. So when I got there, I had this team that came out and got me. I'm watching all this from above, different directions. And I was dead 15 minutes in a row because I heard them clock out. I heard them say a bunch of medical stuff. And I was in and out for 2 hours, like dead. They couldn't get me going.
Wow.
And so they told my mom they couldn't get my vitals. And she's like, okay. She didn't get it at all.
She's done this before. She'll be back.
She said vitals. It sounds like I got vitamins or something. Like she didn't know I was dead. And so, but I ended up being, because my lungs collapsed, and a coma for 3 days. But I saw a lot of cool things in spirit state. I was zooming around the hospital. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I'm so fast. And I heard what everybody said. I tried to help people and talk to them. People that were crossing, I'm like, it's fine, it'll be okay. And I was trying to help people. And then next thing I know, I'm in the room. Look, I keep checking in my body. I'm very disinterested because they're doing all this gross stuff. I'm like, oh God, this is so gross. They're like pumping out stuff. I was like, oh yeah. And so I go back, and they put a sheet over me. It was kind of sad. It was
my
kind of
God.
sad.
And you watched that. You watched
That ain't good. I watched that from above. Yeah, I was dead. And so and the nurses were crying. Stuff's bad when the nurses are crying. And so the two doctor men that were there, one said he had a child that was 5 years old, and they were upset I don't know how I got started up again, but I did. They put the sheet over me, and then my lungs collapsed. But I ended up being, I don't know how they got me. I was Jesus resurrected me. That's all I can say. Because I was seriously, because I came back, and after that, I was in a what do you call it? The plastic little things for 3 days. I was in a coma, and I hung out with Jesus in heaven, and that was awesome. And he talked to me about a lot of stuff, and he talked about manifestation and how we manifest with our minds and with our voice and our words. We need to be very mindful about what we say, because we project that out as we manifest these things. And he said, it's instant here. I said, really? And he said, but it takes longer on earth. I was like, okay. I said, well, why don't you show me? And so he did. He said, all right. And so I visualized a little boat, and we were in this little boat, and these little fish came up to him, and he picked one out, and he just talked to it, and then he put it back. And he said, that's how we fish here. So he told me a lot of things. He talked about love. He said I needed to go back. I really didn't want to. But everything was beautiful. It was just absolutely beautiful. One point I'm in a stream, and I'm swimming, and I can see everything perfectly underwater, and I see his toes and his feet. And he's really nice looking. And so he was very glowy over there. And so he told me a lot of things. We walked around. As he walked, the clouds and the flowers and the grass followed him. And I was going, wonder if he knows. This is kind of odd, if he knows that. But I did have to come back. And then I have one at 10, a drowning, and the water separated, and I could see this beautiful bright light. I heard a chorus, a very full, voluminous chorus of angels. That's what it sounded like, angels. And then I was going, oh, great. It was on a family vacation. Anyway, so next thing you know, I'm waking up, I had this lifeguard, water's coming out of me. And then I had a reaction to a pill when I was 28, and that was different. I just kind of started losing consciousness, and that I was male or female. I was like, oh, this isn't good. And so it was from a doctor, prescription for menstrual headaches or something like that. I mean, it wasn't good. Things I'm the things. I'm
Don't
very
give the brand
sensitive.
name of that. Don't give the brand name. People are going to go out and buy that and be like, I want that experience.
I'm like, no. I mean, and so I was like, So now I know I'm sensitive to things. I have to be kind of careful what I take. So yeah, so I got I had to literally like Frankenstein raising from the dead with the electricity. I had to go. I went to the living room and I turned on the TV hoping if I could follow it that my consciousness would stay intact. But instead I started seeing all my furniture turn into lines. Everything turned into lines.
Wow.
And I was like, and I come to find out later, that's one of the states at the Monroe Institute. Someone told me, I said, oh, I don't know that. But, and then next thing you know, and I started hearing this white noise and I was like, oh boy. And then I knew what was next. I knew what was next. And I didn't know it was male or female. I knew that I am. But then I didn't care. I knew when I got to the point, like, I'm really afraid. I knew in a second later I wouldn't care. And I didn't care. And then I'm out in the Milky Way and the galaxy, but I knew I only had the one pill. So what I did is I would watch my body. It was bilocational. And I would poke myself into my leg to come back because it's all I could get working. Because I
Uh-huh.
knew it wasn't like I had a horrible injury. It was just a reaction. So
Yeah.
I had to get myself coming back. So I think that, and then I had sexual abuse growing up. So I think that with the sexual abuse, I learned to pop out of my body and astral travel. It wasn't like I was being some meditation or some guru, is it
Yeah.
was for survival. And so, spirit people, I've been talking to them and, our loved ones that are so nice. They've been my friends. They've been my supporters for so long that they were the ones helping guide me when I didn't have guidance growing up. I didn't have the the parenting that I needed, and they were there for me, always. And I could see them, and I saw them just like us.
Mhm.
And then I did not come from a religious family or anything like this. My grandmother told me about Jesus, but she was very spiritual. But we weren't allowed to talk with spiritual things in the home at all.
Hmm.
My stepdad did not like that, and so I after I saw him over there, I continued to talk to Jesus, but he's very funny, and I don't want to sound sacrilegious to people, but he's very funny and he makes jokes and he's kind of a smart aleck too. He'll go, why are you asking me that? You already know the answer. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I haven't stopped talking to him. So not only am I Christ channeler, I have other people come through. Matter of fact, I had a podcast from South Africa today. I just was on some holy God that I have no idea who he is. Maybe you guys know who he is. It's called Ramananja. And he came through,
Um,
described himself, and channeled a message to some Indian guy. I said, look, heaven's a big operation. There's all religions. There's Chinese, there's rabbis. Look, I don't know them all. I don't know them all. Look, Jesus is my bud, but there's a lot going on there. I meet new ones all the time, but I think the
Yeah.
filter is just gone. So the
100%.
mediumship, huh?
You have access. It's like, what floor is that one on? 33. I go all the way up there. All right, this guy's coming up. It's like
Well,
walking
they'll
out
hang
of
out
office.
there. They'll hang out in that realm, and so, I mean, it feels great. Like I was getting so hot channeling this guy. He showed up with his proper incense and what he looked like, describe it, and the guy said, "I've been studying him." I said, "I don't think it's your relatives. I think it's your guide and a master." And she goes, "I've been studying this guy. I got to look him up. I don't know who he is." And I said, "He's really nice." I was going to say, but I thought I would. I didn't want to be disrespectful, and the master said to me, "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it." And he's like so nice. But yes, this guy said, "I've been studying and reading his books." I don't know. So it's a big operation over there.
That's great. So you said 6 near deaths, and if you were to pick one out, it sounds like the one that you spoke about earlier, where you were in the hospital riding around. It seems like it was that the longest one from your, like, where you remember the time.
Well, with the deadest, the longer. Can you be deadest? Is that a word? Can you be deadest?
Deadest, the
Deadest.
longest. That
I don't
was the-
know.
Yeah, this one.
Uh,
Yes.
you guys
I don't know.
did-
Well, there was another really cool one too. I didn't really because I don't have too much time to tell. Although I will be. I know you had Dr. Von Kaysen on, which I serve on the Spiritual Awakenings board with as well. I'm the marketing chair, so I do a lot with them. But anyway, I'm speaking next Saturday at 1 to 3, and I'm going to go really in depth to the in-depth heaven. It's free, so if y'all want to go at Spiritual
Oh, cool.
Awakenings International.org. Look under events. You just have to register, but it is free. But anyhow, I'm going to be channeling too. Oh my God. I'm going to be channeling some messages. And so, and showing like, okay, it's really weird. I channeled Jesus, and I've channeled Saint Ignatius. Mother Mary showed up. I'm not even Catholic. I know who she is though. And then I've gotten Sai Baba, I've gotten Yogananda, I got this dude today. I've gotten Einstein quite a few times that helped write this guy, a friend of mine, and he's a client, Mark Fiorentino, and he finished the work of Einstein. And when he got a reading with me, just a reading, it was some crazy reason where he found me. It was kind of an accident, but anyway, well, nothing's an accident, but Einstein came through and gave him the equation to acceleration.
Wow.
And then when he saw me when I did a stage show in Jacksonville, Florida, because I do these big Southern Women show, which I really love. The people are so sweet. Well, we have like 35,000 people over a weekend. And so he and his wife drove. He goes, well, I need some, information to finish my book. And I'm like, okay. So it's packed. You can imagine women are shopping. It's loud. It's like nuts. And so I'll be doing some readings. I'll be on the stage like 3 times a day and, a headline. And so I don't remember it. I really don't remember it. I mean, this is crowded. I channeled a Stargate for him. He put it in as a chapter. So there's this universal knowledge that is available to us. Some people call it the Akashic records, but it is available, to tap in. We talk about this universal love, but there's something even more than that. Our soul history. That sounds so cool. Our soul history. Yeah, bam, is over there. And so, that's what I said. This is, amazing to me that we can have access to that. But what was cool is Einstein knew he was reading all his stuff, thanked him, said they're like brothers. And he said that he gave some connections where they're similar. And I think they knew each other also, and thanked him for the work that he was doing. And, I've heard as a medium, oh, you can't have celebrities come through. Oh, yeah, you can. Because I was listening to George Harrison like crazy, like for like 3 days straight around the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Who comes through? Because he's like, thanks for listening to the music.
I love it. I love it. For a minute there, I thought you were going to crack a joke and say Einstein came through, told them they were like brothers and they should have bagels sometimes or something like that.
Well, no. Well, he did give some things where there were brothers and similarities. They went to the same college. They were one was born the same dates. I mean, it was nuts. And then he knew all that. And he started talking about chickens. I always have chickens come up. Not because the Southern Belle medium's got to have some chickens.
Yes, Southern fried.
I swear, Spirit does this to me. They always talk about chickens, and I'm like, and it happens at least once a week. I'll get something on chickens. So I said, he wants to talk about chickens. This is Einstein. And he said that he did this probability with chickens. And if you get a certain kind of chicken, if you'd have a white egg or a brown egg, he goes, I don't know. So it was 2 days later. He said, I looked it up. He did that in Italy. That was an experiment. That's actually how they harvest chickens now, to get them to lay eggs so quickly because of whatever this was. I don't know. Now I got Tesla talking to me about about biotransluminescence and how spacecrafts are engineered.
Can you, next time he comes through, can you get the equation for free energy from him? Because
well,
I think we need that on the phone.
It's funny because he told me 3 things, energy, frequency, so-and-so, and he gave me reasons behind it. And I thought it's back to my scientist friend again. But honestly, I think he wants to tell me. I said, I'm not a scientist. He said, you don't have to be with this. And I'm like, oh. So he's come to me 3 or 4 different occasions recently. And so I've written stuff down that he says, I have no idea. But he told me he could not be sold out, that he was going to give free energy, but he was offered a lot of money by the corporations to take it for whatever it is he did. And he's had a lot of integrity, and he said he didn't take it. He also told me he was not of this world. He said that he's like a starseed like me.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's what he told me. Mm-hmm. And he's like very friendly. He's really friendly, but he's very charismatic when he
Well, have you
comes.
seen the pictures of him posing? Yeah, makes sense. So,
I don't really know that much about it. The first time I came, I said, "Are you Tesla?" Or sorry, I don't know much about you. But now I really should read more. But they tell me about themselves. So
yeah. So, question for you. In case I just lost you, you want me to? I don't know where you went. I'll put you up there in the little zone there. Sorry, I'm doing this right now for all of this, but I have a quick question for you. I just thought I removed him from the thing.
yeah,
So
Kate took off.
I can't tell. Okay, good. I'm looking at another screen over here. So, question for you. I guess more of a comment. We blasted off just like I knew we would, just like we did last week when we talked, because we got so much to talk about. So you have kind of covered the spectrum of everything we're talking about in the summit. Again, there's no stone that's been left unturned
Sorry.
with you. So your near-death experiences, you died and you came back. You are also a medium, and you channel. So let's talk a little bit about this. How do you distinguish what? Let's break this down. We know we've talked about NDEs. We know. I want to get your opinion on what's the difference between a psychic, a medium. Can you be one or the other, or one without the other? And then add the channeling onto it and explain to me about the channeling part of it. Like what
Okay, sure.
what's different with a channel or somebody that channels?
Sure. Well, I can only tell you from my perspective, and not that I am the, the
Yeah.
only explanation here, but for the way that I understand it. So psychic is our physical universe. So it has to do with, career, romance, puppy dogs, whatever is of this physical, our home, land, property. For example, give an example. There was a lady that used to hire me before she'd buy property. She'd send me a picture of the business property, and she'd say, "Can you read it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there used to be so and so asleep, was hung in that basement for doing whatever, but he didn't do it, and it's got bad mojo. I totally would not go there." And she
Well,
did the research on the history and found out it was there. So there's history of the land. Is our fit, but it's still physically in this reality. Now, of course,
Right.
he was telling me that's mediumship, what was going. So it's physical. The thing about predictions and psychic readings, two things. It can offer comfort to people if they're going through, let's say, a really horrible divorce, right? And it's just traumatizing. Maybe they do need an encouraging word that their future is going to be better and it's going to be great. However, these predictions, it changes with our consciousness. So as we change our consciousness, we may decide, the people, no, I'll never remarry. Well, if they decided they're not going to, or if their conscious, okay, I changed my mind, I'll give it a go, sure.
Yeah.
Then that consciousness changes. So I see options, and there are certain options that are better than others. However, as you know, you can't tell people what to do. They're hard headed. So you just give the options. But I try to encourage people with free will. Then the mediumship is where you sense the next kind of higher level. And so you have, if there was a sliding scale from lower to higher, you would have empathic people that feel things, right? They feel things, which can be bad because you can, quit feeling people's stuff, shut
Right.
it down. I feel really sad right now. Okay, quit picking up the dude next to you. Own your own stuff. This is yours. Quit doing that. So then you've got people that are intuitive and they'll sense things. They'll sense things, but it's not. And then you have in between that, like psychic people that get things down them, but not all the time. And then you have people like are spot on. So there's a
Right.
range. Like people that play guitar that are, piddle, and there are people who are very good. And then you go up to mediumship where you're sensing spirit family and friends. They're always around us. They're
Yeah.
always there. It's just a dimension that's actually very close to us that we can tap in and see. And some people naturally do that. Some people, I would say most people sense it. They'll look at a picture of their dad that passed and they'll kind of go, gosh, he was wonderful. And then they sense, wow, I kind of feel like
yeah.
he's here. So I think most people do that. And then with the mediumship, then you get into which Carl, your friend, and we trained
Yeah.
with Tony for many, many years. I don't think it was 8 years. I've trained with other people too, but I know he has a great passion for spirit, and so does Carl. And so we have done training because I think that whatever you do in life, if you're a plumber, be the best plumber. Whatever you do. And so I knew
Yeah.
when I decided, oh gosh, really, I'm going to do this. And so when I came out publicly, I went to train at the Omega Institute in New York with John Holm and Janet Novahack. And I'm like, really? Okay, I'm going to do this. I owned an ad agency 25 plus years. And so I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I go there, I'm like in prayer for choice. Like, really, I don't want to do this thing. And so when I go there, like I rock it. People are like, God, how long you been doing this? I'm like, I don't know, this weekend. So I knew, I thought this is going to either I suck, I go home, and then I'll do whatever, or, this is what God wants me to do. Fine. So apparently this was it. So I'm like, terrific. But then when I started coming out and getting training, people that I knew said, "Oh, we already knew that about you." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." And I thought, "Oh, well, I wasn't very good at hiding it." But I think that the evidential style of British mediumship, there's standards, because there are some people, and I'll give you quick difference.
Perfect. Perfect.
You might have a person, say you go to a medium demonstration. The mediums listener they're listening up. You're gonna like this, medium friends. So you go to meet, and I've seen this with my eyes. A medium demonstration. You're in the audience, and I'm a person there, and I want to see my mother. And I'm making this up, by the way. Okay, this is just an example. Who's Irish with green eyes? My mom is blonde hair, blue eyes. It doesn't look like, okay, but this is an example. Irish nurse, black hair, green eyes. Used to take her when she went to the bank, give her lollipops. Okay, got it. So now that person's in the audience, and the person goes, "Oh, there's a woman here. She's very caring. I think she takes care of people. She used to give you candy, and very attractive woman with long dark hair, blah, 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 blah." Okay. That's really a psychic reading. She's psychically picking up on her. Now let's do a medium reading. In the audience, so-and-so, there's a woman here. She's saying her daughter's here. She used to take her to the beach, and the woman's thinking, "Yeah, I had such a great time." She loved being with you, but she didn't like how hot it was. She liked to be in the bar section, gambling, having Mai Tais. And she's like, "Yeah, I didn't know she didn't like it." Or they'll give little evidence. They love treasure hunts to say, "So-and-so, your grandmother had that necklace. It's with your sister, but I really would like for you to have it because she's already got something of mine." "Really? It exists? Okay, let me go look." So they leave treasure hunts. And then for as the channeling aspect of it, I really honestly did not plan this. I
Let
I
me
really
say to you, brother,
did
I did not
not
plan this.
all. So I'm talking to Jesus. I had to do a t-shirt. I mean, this is my normal life. How strange is this? I'm talking to Jesus and ETs, and it all makes sense. I mean, this doesn't. And so, oh God. So it just is an evolution. It's just like, I didn't plan to talk to Einstein. Now I've talked to all sorts of characters. People I didn't even know. Saint Ignatius, he showed up with a donkey. I'm like, "Who are you?" I didn't know who he was. And he kept talking in riddles, and he was talking, apparently he's kind of important. And so I found out who that is. Like today, I got to look up this dude, but apparently he's somebody. It's fascinating to me. So sometimes it's for my own soul. It gives me evidence that, wow, that's pretty cool. The channeling part, I don't try. I'm realizing that I like being a vessel for spirit. I can be honest. It makes me happy. I have to like them. It's kind of like this. If you like someone, you're like, "All right, you can give me a kiss on the cheek." But if someone repulsed you, or you're like, "Ooh, no," you wouldn't let them get near you. You'd be like, "Yeah, no thanks, no thank you." So it's kind of like that with spirit people. And it started with Jesus because his energy feels so good. It's like he's just a little love bug. I'm like, "Okay, give me some more of that. That's some good stuff." And so it opened up this other stuff, which are working in that love realm. And then you're really talking about the Akashic records. The angels, yes, they're around. And then now I guess I started having on my channel, the Seeking Heaven channel, the near death experience of the phenomenon is blown up. Jesus told me to do that in August. It's a lot of work, Like I'm working 80 some hours a week. It's crazy. But I mean, it's insane. Ask my husband, he'll tell you, because he's counted the hours. He's very patient. He cooks every night. He's a saint. Okay. And so I have awesome people. I've had mediums, I've had psychics, I've had a lot of near-death experiences, spiritually transformative experiences. People have had angels and UFOs. I even had a guy who has a full military team with K9 that hunt werewolves.
Did you say werewolves?
Mix. What?
Did you just say werewolves?
Yeah, werewolves. Like, yeah, like, yeah. He calls it the dog man. And then in Europe, they're werewolves.
Okay, Tamara,
Pictures of them.
I have to tell you, I did not expect this interview to go that way. But hey,
Sorry.
I just didn't think that werewolves was going to bring this in. This is funny. So I do want to go back to one thing because I'm fascinated by a few things you said. I want to touch on one thing you said when you were having an experience where you saw the furniture in the room turn into lines. Is it when you say that? Do you mean it was like the Matrix? Like you were looking
Yeah,
at?
totally 100%.
Okay, so it
Yes,
was like
100.
cool. I just
It's
wanted to ask that.
exactly what you think it means. Everything decomposed into lines. And I remember being fully conscious going, wow, that's not good. What I think it was, it's always there, right? It's
Yeah.
because I was breaking down. My spirit was breaking down. And to see that, because everything we talk about has particles, but our consciousness hold things together. If we were all in agreement, none of this existed, I wouldn't. So, there's a whole theory of the holographic universe. I had Ray Hernandez in the show, and how it's a hologram, and what we need in our life, we can project it. I don't know if this is true or not. Okay, it's just a theory, but I've seen a lot of stuff. I've heard fairies, I've seen trolls, I have seen Jesus in the flesh, July 17th, 2017, going to a Hall and Oates concert. He was dressed pretty good, modern. He could have been going to the concert with us. I don't know. But I
Was
saw
he
him.
like
He
Hall
was
or Oates better?
mirage. He was flesh.
Wow.
And I
So,
can't explain that. I cannot explain that. And it lasted a while. I cannot explain that. And he looked really good. And he was not see-through or anything. I really was shocked. I was really shocked. And I thought, there's no way this is what I'm looking at. Yahweh. And his feet, I could see the grass. I thought his feet looked really good. And it was really weird. I had Sharon Milliman that was just on my show, who's an NDEr, and he showed up in her kitchen, but he had on the same outfit. He had like a tunic to his thighs, and then he had on it was like a brown green khaki pants. And she talked about how good his feet look. I said, yeah, I noticed how good his feet look too. He had sandals on, but they weren't like the hippie Jesus sandals. They were just like 2 straps. But his feet look good, and not that most men's feet look bad, but some look like cavemen. But his look really good. They look really perfect, manicured. And I even looked to see if he had earrings or jewelry, because I thought he was like a metrosexual, like hippie Jesus. I didn't know. And and then he looked right at me, and it was the face of purity, which I have never seen on anything but like a baby or a puppy. But he just looked at me and through me. Like I can't explain it. It was amazing moment. I was hysterically, euphorically, crazy happy. I was like, ah, like that.
love that.
It was because my brain couldn't comprehend it, but yet I felt the presence was so strong. I actually shouted out his name. We were looking for a parking place, and we were driving, and I'm looking, looking for a parking place. And all of a sudden, my soul knew it before I saw it. I said, "My Lord!" I screamed it like a crazy person. And God bless my husband. He's normal. He is. He's a normal person. And so, and then that's when I saw a little figure, and as I got closer, it lasted 3 or 4 minutes, and I got right on top of him. And then I leaned over the back of the chair to get a better look. And then I slapped my husband and I said, "Look!" And then when I did, he was gone. But he couldn't have gone that fast. He was in the middle of the medium, but he was 100% flesh. I don't know why he showed up. I didn't ask him. I don't really know, but my life's not normal. I've had a lot of stuff. We don't have
I
enough
think we're all
we
tuning
don't
into
have
that
the
one.
time. We haven't seen a
Who wants
werewolf
to be
or
normal?
Bigfoot yet, but I
That
have
was-
seen motherships. The past since August, seen 2 large ass, huge, a large craft, and even my husband saw it, who's normal. He saw it, and it was huge. And then I said a full-on Richard Dreyfuss Encounters of the Close Kind mothership, like
Wow.
massive, in my backyard with lights, everything, in October.
Holy mackerel. So I have a takeaway from this because I'm really kind of focused on this one thing because you say it like it's just like it happens because it does happen to you. But it's like
To
there's
me.
some people watching going, what? Like I can imagine people like going, hey, get over here, check this out. This woman's talking to Jesus. But here's my takeaway with the Jesus. It's obviously the energy, you see him, he's connecting with you, and that this is a master that walked across along the planet at one point. and just left a physical body that it was here, and he's now still walking and comes to people all the time. You hear about it all over the world. Here's
That's
what I
so.
really, here's what I really love is that um, now, if all of you out there need to find Jesus, you need to recognize that he is a handsome man. He wears
Hmm.
greenish brown tan khakis.
It's
He
got
wears
dimples.
he wears Tevas, and he has the innocence of a puppy, and he likes
Great sense of
80s,
humor.
Great
70s,
hair.
70s and 80s
Great
music.
hair.
Oh,
And
gray
curly
hair.
hair and teeth. Very bouncy hair. It looked like a hair commercial.
So, like a Fabio kind of hair.
Yeah, I mean it was brown. It had gold highlights, but he had the beard, but it was very perfect looking. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
looked really perfect. He looked like a model,
I love it.
and he was really handsome. He was muscular too, but he was lean. But see, they never wanted to depict him that like in
No,
Roman Catholics, so because they don't want a sexy Jesus, because that would be weird, you know.
well, there's my next Halloween outfit, right? I'm gonna have to get a really good wig.
Jesus.
You're gonna be the sexy Fabio Jesus.
I love it. Anyway, so one more point, because I really want to talk about something. You made a comment when we talked last time about channeling, and you've channeled, because a lot of people watching have probably come from talking to myself and Case about the healing work we've done as well. And there's a tie-in with Cryon, and you've channeled Cryon in as well, and even Lee
Oh,
Carroll.
interesting.
Yeah, Lee Carroll, who's probably the most well known for channeling Cryon, he even says yes, other people can channel Cryon in. So tell us about that. When you can tune into another energy, do you set the intention, or do they come like knocking on the door like, "Hey, Tamara, it's Cryon"? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so that's a good question. It's a fair question. So, to be honest and truthful, I'm going to answer this question. I don't really have seeked any of this out.
Right.
Well, at least I don't think I am. Probably am on some level, but so I had on my show UFO person, and I started reading. This is how this happened. You asked how this door opened up,
Yeah.
and it was a famous person, Craig Campobasso, and he has a casting director for big sci-fi movies, Steven Spielberg, and all this stuff. So I'm reading his book. I downloaded the Intergalactic Species Almanac, thinking, yeah, this is going to be, whatever. And I look, and I'm going, oh my God, this is real. And I said, did you channel this? And he goes, yes. And then I said, you're not human, are you? He goes, no. And then he sort of said he's a Pleiadian. Well, 3 days later, I'm getting a healing session from a Pleiadian. And she gave me a DNA activation. I started glowing. I glowed a couple more times. I glowed a few times after that, like a light, like a light. And I don't mean like look, my skin looks good. I mean like glowing. And so like it's not normal. And so I remember being an angelic Syrian being that works for the office of Christ. Like, kind of intense, right? And so since then, now I have been having 2 years before this, Aster come through the Galactic Federation. And then I've now channeled Chiron. He told me I finished my light grid around the planet, and now I have more healing abilities. I'm like, and then he's done. I've talked in session because a lot of times I don't remember this. It's recorded. I don't remember what it is, and so I'm like, okay. And then he's talked about magnetism and the magnetism. And then he talked about the Earth's core, and then he talked about a bunch of stuff. And then I've had Astor come to me and talk to me about the different ones and the intentions about the different ones and how they have stations that are patrolling certain things. Oh my God, this is not normal. And then who else? The Elohim. A lot of these people, I don't even know the real telephone. The Elohim have come through. I've had Metatron come through. Chiron's come through a few times. So, and then Syrian. Now I'm channeling the Syrian Council of Light. God, I've just lost a bunch of fans. Sorry. Yes, look, I'm not trying. Okay, I'm just
You're like the
love. It
spiritual
just
switchboard.
happens. It just happens. So, I think it's because it's a vibrational level. I don't try, and I'm actually shocked. Like, is this real? Like, I was talking to the Pleiadian lady that did the DNA, who's now a good friend. I have Pleiadian friends now. How strange is this? I love her to pieces, though. She's wonderful. And but it's like, oh yeah, and she knows all about this stuff. I said, you got to be kidding. This is all real. And so Chiron too, also Saint Germain comes through a lot and tells me I am kind of things. And he talks to me a lot. And he talks about structure. So now I'm seeing numbers and symbols, and I'm seeing symbols and I'm seeing them turn into numbers, and I'm seeing, and then Tesla wants to talk about that too. So where is this going? I have no idea. I mean, one thing that I will tell people, don't label yourself. You may be intuitive, you may be a medium, you may be whatever it is, a great mom, great dad. We're so much more, okay? And we're evolving, and we should allow that to happen. And even the more I learn, I don't even know if we're all truly human from here. I don't know. Questions out. Look, I'm learning too. I don't know. Like I have to laugh about all this. And then the mothership really blew me away. I was bringing a pizza home, and I was like, thought it was a chopper, and I went, holy crap. And I had to look at it. And, okay, wait a minute. I had to, it's round. There are lights illuminating. It's like round, like but squishy round. And then I'm like, and there's lights in it. It was huge. It was as big as a neighborhood. It was huge.
Wow.
And I'm going, I couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. So I think that the world is so much bigger than we realize. We are spirit. We can tap into these different realms. I don't think that trying is really trying so hard. I think it's just surrendering and knowing that, God made all these things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid. When I saw the big ship and going to Asheville with my husband, we're like, look at that. I actually wanted them to land so I could hug them. Like I was like so excited. I know that's a weird thing, but I was so happy. I just think there's so much more to us than what we can imagine. And I think it's the vibration. I mean, I don't have one of fear.
Good. And that's the thing. I think that's the big takeaway from today is the one of fear. You're just allowing it to happen, knowing that you're walking in the light, knowing that there's nothing to be afraid of. And I think that's a great takeaway for everybody. Now, you have done something special for everybody that's on here today. So, we'll be including this in not only the chat, but we're going to include it in a few other things. And I just wanted to say you're offering to everybody, if they purchase a 90-minute life path reading from you, you'll get an extra 30 minutes for free. And I put it in the link that you can go in there. So you get an extra 30 minutes for free. Plus, if you sign up on your homepage for your newsletter, you'll be considered for a psychic medium reading, which will be live on your channel, Seeking Heaven, the near-death experience and other phenomena. And I put the link in the chat below for everybody. So
it'll be free. Mm-hmm.
That'll be free. So basically they find out when they're on there, they just log in and they'll know, and you'll say, hey, you won the
I'll send out, what I'll do is that I'll send out an email, and I'll see who is, sometimes people want to do that, and as it gets closer, they get cold feet, and they're like, and I say, look, it's all going to be good. I mean, your family or whoever, it's not going to say anything to embarrass you, so don't worry about it. But I'll send out an email and verify, and then you'll say, yep, I'm interested. So you do have a second chance because it will be live, and it will be other people. But I'm always polite. I'm not going to say anything like, tell us about that extra girlfriend you got. I mean, not that would never happen.
Hey there, and thanks for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making the video. Please smash the subscribe button, share it with a friend, and then watch the next video for some more great content from EnergyHealthcareConnection.com.